Oh, hey, Salaki. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahashem, YAHAWASHI. Okay, double honors to the elders and apostles, better known as the Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations, and blessing to the sincere Akim, the fellow laborers, hazarding your lives, teaching this truth, the correct doctrine with sincerity. Okay, and death to 2/3. Always got to include that. All right, always got to include death to 2/3, man, because a lot of these people they don't deal with it, or they try to dance around it or fluff it up. Okay, but this title is you better teach to not take the RFID chip. Okay, that start there. If you're teaching otherwise, you need to stop. Okay, and here's the reasons why. So just jump right into it. This is Matthew 5:19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Now let me get a precept. This is out of the law, Leviticus 19:28. Okay. It says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Most High. I am Yahawah. So let's look up this word cuttings. It looks like sarat or sarataza. It's like in my Syrian's a bit off. But it says incision or cut. Okay? A cutting, incision, right there to the point. So you're not supposed to cut. What is, let's see what an incision is. Incision, a surgical cut made in skin or flesh. A mark or decoration cut into a surface. That's pretty plain, man. That's what the RFID chip is, right? You see in the bottom corner of the screen what that chip is, right? Pretty sure I got that up for you guys to see. Yep, RFID chip. So you see it's in their hand. It's an implantable device. It's it is like an idol because it's carved. It's made by the hands of men, and people are going to be worshiping that thing because it's their whole life is embedded in that chip, man. So that's the word cutting. All right, for the dead, napash, looks like. Is that right? I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong. The definition, properly, a breathing creature, i.e. animal of vitality. Okay. A person. Okay. Figurative, accommodated or figurative sense. Okay. Breath of life. The soul. Anima, like animated, animation, the soul. Okay. So you're not supposed to make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Okay. Now this goes back to a custom that people used to have. Okay, it says nor print. Okay. Nor print. To print. Use with greatest latitude of application. Add, appoint, ascribe, assign. It says avenge, be healed. Okay, place, pour, print. Let's see what it says in the lexicon. To give. Cause to receive, to give. Comparative and verbs in Arabic. Conjunction. And to give with the suffix of a person to whom anything is given. To give the hand to the victor. Especially these phrases are to be remarked. To give the hand to the victor. From pride arises strife. Damn. Okay. Don't print any marks. Look at that. Incision, imprintment, tattoo, or mark. An incision or gash or mark. Stigma. A mark branded on the skin. Directly to Leviticus 19:28. So it's very literal that you're not supposed to put any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Okay, now this is Revelations 14:11. It says, "And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." Now, when you go into that have no rest day nor night, that is dealing with them being a perpetual slave. Okay, so when you take that chip, it's on all the time, and they started putting it in animals a couple years back, right? Maybe like 5 or so years back, they started putting it into cats and dogs so that people would lose their pets, they could find them. But what they found, and this is one thing I learned about studies, independent studies for pharmacy studies and stuff. People will go to these corporations and they'll take certain drugs or pills. You sign waivers, and because you're testing a drug, and a lot of times the side effects could be death and stuff, right? But they only do about a couple weeks to a couple months, maybe a year at the most, of these studies before they say whether it's good or bad. And the reality is, it really takes about 70 years for a study to be completed on the human body, because the human body has a vast scope of you have to take in so many things into account. The age of people, they take into account the ethnicity, the age, the diet, and all these different aspects. So when you really do a study, no one has the money to accommodate for 70 years of study for these drugs. And that's why these pharmaceutical companies, they make so many brand new drugs, because they're kind of playing catch up, and they're going back and replacing these older drugs, right? So there's really no way to tell, what's going to happen in the long run. So here we are in 2018. It's been, 5-7 years since they've been chipping animals, and what they found is that these tumors are developing, cancerous tumors and things of that nature, and the animals are getting sick. So their loved ones are dying. So if it's doing it to an animal, how much more to you? See, so you're going to have no rest day nor night. You're going to be a perpetual slave. That technology, that frequency is constantly running. Every living organism already has a frequency. So then you're going to embed something else with 4G, 5G, whatever. I don't even know, really what they're working on. That's something that, I should look into. That'd be interesting. Okay. So they're going to have no rest day nor night. Now, as an example, of what the heathens would do, this is Jeremiah, the 48th chapter. It says, for every head, 48 and 37, it says, for every head shall be bald, and every beard clipped. Upon all hands shall be cuttings, and upon the loins sackcloth. So these perpetual slaves, because when you're in slavery, you're dead, right? So a way of mourning. So when you look at this word, cuttings, it's interesting. It's different. Now you saw the word above it. It said yad, which is a hand, right? The yad. Okay, and then man, my Assyrian. I gotta brush up on my Assyrian again. But when you go to the usage, you see the usage of it. But when you go to the definition, it's to the point. It says a furrow, as cut, a furrow. Again, incision or cutting of the skin. So when you look at the word furrow, it tells you a long, narrow trench. Again, look at the RFID chip, made in the ground by a plow. Now, when you look at the needle for the RFID chip, let's look at what a plow blade looks like. Plow blade. Okay, for tilling. Boom, there it is. You see it on the back of that wheel right here. You see the back? Let's see it. Come on. I got a lot of windows open, so it's a lot here. But boom, you see the how it's got this this point to it, right? So when you look at the injection needle for the RFID chip. Let's see, injection needle RFID. I'm more than sure they're going to have the image for it. Okay, so now when you look at the injection needle, look at it's that same spade look to it, to trench into your skin, to go under your epidermis. Fancy word for the skin there. Okay, to place that chip on under your skin. So, and when that chip's on, it's on forever until they decide to turn it off. And the one thing I've noticed, and I've always kind of made mention of, is around the world you have these petri dishes. You know what a petri dish is? Where they got that little bowl, that little cup, with organisms and things in it, and they put it under the microscope and the different slides, and because they're trying different chemicals, or testing blood samples or whatever they're doing to see how things react within these confined conditions, right? So around the world, you have scenarios in petri dishes, like in Wisconsin, the company that put out the chip for their employees, that was a petri dish. Now in China, there's another petri dish where they're giving people like social behavior scores. So if you say anything bad about the Communist Party, the leaders, the political system, the agenda, anything like that, you lose points and you get put down to the lowest grade of a D. The highest grade you can get, I think, is a AAA. So they're treating it kind of like a credit score. And one guy who is a human rights activist in China, he's Chinese, appears to be Chinese, and he's got a 10-year travel ban, so he can't go anywhere. So they revoked his right to travel. Another person who was a reporter, because of certain tweets he had put up, his son, he can no longer own property. His son cannot go to private schools. So they're really becoming strict on their citizens. So that's a petri dish, and that's all these things are gonna, they're gonna find ways to apply things here and there to, to get people under their servitude, So if you're teaching anyone to take this chip, you're going off, because what follows with the chip, not just the physical implication, but the mindset behind it. Okay, the mindset behind it, that you are now, once you take that chip, you have to obey man rather than the Most High. And that's, it doesn't get any more plain than that. So anyone teaching that that you can take the chip, or we don't know, hey, you guys are off. Okay, it's a very serious thing, man. Okay, because when you take that chip, the Most High surely will destroy you. One thing I do want to point out with Jeremiah, the 48th chapter, is this last verse. In verse 47, where it says, "Yet will I bring again the captivity of Moab in the latter days." So this is an end time prophecy. And when you look up other Bible commentaries, they acknowledge that this is an end time prophecy, but they don't know really what it means. Because the Most High, he hasn't judged any of the nations yet. It says, right? It says, "Praise ye the Most High. These other nations have not known the judgment." So, when I came across it, I was like, oh man, that's pretty crazy. And I reached out and got some understanding and what this is dealing with. And it was a custom of the heathens, and they're going to be perpetual slaves, when they take this mark, because all these other nations are going to take it and be slaves to this beast and his image. Okay, which the head of that, the head nation of this whole thing, is the so-called white race, or the Caucasian race. Okay, the so-called white man. Okay, he goes by many titles, but he is the biblical Hebrew red Edomite. A red Hebrew Edomite, that's them. Okay, so they're the ones setting up all this, and they're the ones that are looking to profit from it. Okay, so real quick, we got to read this, Revelations 14:12. "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they kept. Here are they that kept the commandments of the Most High and the faith of YAHAWASHI. Now, does that mean every single commandment? No, because you can't keep every single of the commandment. That's why there's grace and mercy, right? But the things in your control, what you eat, what you put in your body, okay, what you rehearse in your free ability, in your so-called freedom, okay, observances, okay, and knowing that you're not supposed to do certain things, and then of course not doing them, right? So like if you know you're not supposed to get a tattoo or cut your flesh open, things like that, right? Matter of fact, last point I'll make is that flu shot. You know, there was a lady nurse who came out saying that flu shot was all just a big hype. You know, and a lot of people on that comment board are saying, yeah, I didn't take the flu shot, and everyone else at my job who took it, they all got sick. I'm the only one that didn't get sick. Okay, so the saints are patiently waiting to have our faith justified, and that's where Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, will come into play. So again, just to recap, you better teach to not take the chip. Okay, you better teach to not take the chip. All right, you're endangering others, also yourself, but the warning and the blood is off of our hands here at Great Millstone. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna say shalom.